Pandora's box. Where is the... I don't know if you guys can hear me. Yeah, it looks like you can. Trying to multi-stream at the same time. Concentration. This is some very highly complicated and technical stuff going on here. You get like a echo out of the monitor. What the hell is going on here? It's kind of hard to see all of the systems at once. All right, where in the hell did the YouTube thing go? I have lost the YouTube feed. If you guys could see what I see, you'd laugh. It's like, ain't no way anybody's gonna be able to keep up with this shit. Oh, there's YouTube. What's interesting is trying to live stream on Meta at the same time because it's two different reporting platforms. How come I keep hearing the damn echo in the freaking monitor? There we go. If it's not entertaining, just trying to figure this out, then I can't. What in the hell is the music sound keep coming out of the damn monitor? Oh. What the hell is the music sound keep coming out of the damn monitor? Hilarious, man. Oh, desktop audio. I should have hooked up 3 monitors. I don't understand why I keep hearing a damn thing. Huh. Probably just be easier if I hooked up the damn phone. Why in the hell do I keep hearing it out of the freaking monitor? So anyway, I got really nothing to say and no advice to anybody. Why does it keep coming out of the monitor? Someday I'm going to be like Howard Stern and have a really good setup. Off all my monitors. Jesus Christ. Fucking incredible. Oh, hey, we're live in Studio Casa Tabasco. Ain't nobody here. Nobody gives a shit. The hell has even going on here? This is pretty tricky. Let's see here. Is that 8-ball? No, I mean the user, not the stuff. Is that like really loud? 8-ball? Or is it all right? Pritch? Is it too loud? Can you hear me now? All right, good. I'm pretty, aren't I? You like my clubhouse I built? Isn't that fancy? Can you even see it? Where the fuck is the fucking thing at? Well, it didn't really work out like I wanted it to. I was trying to use this TK something or another, but get me a beer. We're not allowed to drink. Oh, that screen froze. Is the screen freezing? The hell's the problem? HCA, why is the screen freeze? Is the screen freezing on the broadcast? Let me see. I'm a technology guru, as you well know. 35 years of being a project manager. That means I'm the dumbest guy in the room. Yeah, I see that. I don't know why. I mean, I bought a fucking stream server, and I am plugged directly into a mini hub and going into Spectrum, but that motherfucker is freezing. I can see it. Why can't we have nice things? It's ridiculous. Maybe it's because I'm streaming on 3 platforms, but that's why I bought this damn server, so you could stream on 3 platforms. I'm supposed to handle it because it's a big giant hard drive is all it is. But I also put a new router or wireless router, but I'm actually plugged into it with hardwire because you get better speed. But it seems to be choppy. I really don't care if I'm live on the YouTube because I think I have like 3 followers. We're all old, and all my old friends they won't download TikTok because they're afraid. Well, there's no point in it for them, and I wouldn't disagree. But because I didn't have it before these brands, because everybody told you not to have it, and then they say it's going to go away in January, which is probably not. But I'm getting your TikTok. Yeah. That's the main one. I have that set up as the main feed, and then you can stack feeds. So I'm on Facebook Live, which is where most of my our people are because we're old and that's all we know how to do. I am also live on YouTube, but again, I think look, man, you can only try to build so much shit. You know what? You know what all these things are about? They're about paying them money because they're always begging money off of you, and they don't want to spend no money. They're like, "Oh, you haven't bought an ad for a long time." I'm like, "Well, yeah, because I ain't got no money. How about you create some sales from these ads that we pay you to boost this bullshit, and then maybe we'd have more money." But that's how they get money. And the thing on a TikTok platform is I probably won't be able to maintain it forever because I keep getting violated every time I go on, and they're soft, and I didn't want to do a podcast originally that we had to have, be like, behave. Isn't that the whole reason like Howard Stern went to the internet so he didn't have to behave on regular radio waves? But I get violated constantly, and it's annoying. And truthfully, if I was making any money, I'd be pissed because that's fucking with your business. I don't understand. Everybody says, "Oh, well, TikTok it's owned by China and it's trying to destroy the United States." No, it's not because it freaking bans everything anyone would say, and as a conspiracy theory, so it's like they were like not trying to destroy America, but I think it's a younger crowd because it's all about those gifts. Hey, ball, do you have any roses? Do you have any unicorn shit? Because you need to like give it to me. And that's what they do, and some of them are really good at it. I mean, there's this chick that's in the agency that I'm in that she goes on every morning at like 7, and she's really good at this shit because it's very complicated. It's the most complicated platform I've ever seen. But it's like, brrr, and people just constantly like, here's a rose, here's a this, here's a gun that's for 500 points and coins and quarters and whatever. And it's like, man, my friends are all dicks and they're broke and they ain't got no money. Or actually, they're not going to buy fake gifts with real money to give them to me. So I think my crowd's a little Pritch. You've never even bought me a rose. Well, and it says get a beer. I'm like, yeah, can we get some adult gifts like, you know, beer or beads or something and not have to hand out like flowers and ice creams and, unicorn poop? But got a big old crowd of like total viewers was like 13 at one time. I'm trying to hook up this secondary thing. TikTok has this thing called something. Oh my god, what a pain in the ass. Um, it's like overlay, and so if you're on TikTok, you get Tickfinity, and Tickfinity you can overlay your bullshit. so you can get like all those texts and the stuff over there, and it's supposed to like lay it over the screen and do shit. But I'm telling you what, man, it ain't that Gen Z smarter than me because they're not. I'm old school. I started DOS, but this shit's just ridiculous, man. I mean, it's like the most ridiculously ridiculous platform I've ever learned, and I've learned a lot of systems that made no sense for every bank and everything else in the world doing project management. But this shit right here is like absurd. And then every time you spend like 5 hours making a video to try to like do something, maybe sell a pair of sunglasses and make like $1.30, and they fucking violate you and then suspend you for 7. Oh, you didn't do this. Last time I tried to go live on the product, I was, as always, having technical difficulties, couldn't get the mic to work, and they yeah, I do. Huh? So you can do like you know what? That guy, the favorite biker, your favorite biker. I mean, if you haven't checked him out, he's fucking loud. Uh, I, I, I actually reached out to him a while ago, but I can't get my shit together and stay in consistent, whatever, like 7 o'clock every day, go on for whatever. And with the agency, you're supposed to go on for an hour and a half because they don't, it doesn't work out for them if you don't. But the problem is that an hour and a half is a long time to talk about shit, even with like two co-hosts. You just, I mean, we found like with Train and I or Leisure or whoever, I mean, you just fucking around shit to talk about by like fucking like an hour. You're like, oh, okay. But the problem is if you don't do an hour and a half, then they don't get paid or whatever. And that's fine. I mean, I knew that going in. But then you try to take an hour and a half segment and then you kind of edit it through using tools to edit it down to like a 30-minute podcast. And it freaking takes you like another 8 or 9 hours, man. So I told her, I said, look, here's the deal. I will include Tiki Taki on the stream. I will likely get violated out of existence because I'm not going to hold back our conversations. And it's not like we did get off subject. We got to talking about like shingles vaccine or something. But I think the V word ended up getting us not only violated. It was me and Leisure. Then it like shut down the whole feed. And I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, we're talking about anything, like the fake one that tried to kill everybody. We're talking about just like a normal thing. But they said you were giving medical advice. I'm like, no, I didn't. But anyway, let's see. We got 15. We're getting there. We're getting there. I got 8 ball. 8 ball. Some of these times, why don't you just go on with me? I'm not really sure how. I was like using TikTok Live Studio, but I'm not really sure how to do it like on this thing. Up the studio, OBS is what I switched over to, so I get multi-stream. But getting all that shit set up, and then going over to Facebook, and then going over to wherever YouTube, and getting all that shit, and then putting all the stream bullshit in the keys, and then live, and you're trying to monitor 3 different things. It's like, this is stupid. I need a producer. Pritch, you're not doing anything productive. Why don't you start producing? And that's what DNA does. DNA has his old lady produce, and their women are generally smarter than us, so they can handle all this stuff, and we can just be like cool and shit. Yeah, but anyway, your favorite biker. I'll tell you what. If I did not resonate with what he said most of the time, because he is as kind, because really it comes down to people that if you know, and if you don't know, you don't know. He knows. And it doesn't take long if you've been in the life for very long to figure out people that are still learning, and that's fine. Like I had a probate tell me for a big club, and the guy was green. I mean, he wasn't like 3 months, and that's after I had left, where I was, and that's almost 20 years of time, and telling me how things work in the MC. And I didn't correct him, man. I didn't. I mean, it's not my job to correct him. First of all, he's not my probate, but secondly, you know what? No one's corrected. There's a lot of people, 8 ball, that don't like your favorite biker, but I'll tell you what. And he addresses constant like comments and getting just like attacked because he switched over to Indian and he's loud. And he's got the long hair, which I'm getting long hair. You ain't got no hair, 8 ball, so you'd be jealous. But he knows his shit and he's not wrong. And I know what club he's in. I don't know much about that club because they've never been in any of my regions. Although I know they're real, they're serious, they're hard hitting. Um, they have my respect. Everyone, I honestly, you don't have to, but I like to start that way. You got my respect, lose it, and most do pretty quick. But um, so I guess that I have no idea what I'm doing over here. I'm trying to get this TK shit to work to do the overlay thing, but I think I'm about ready to give up. But what would be nice is like on TikTok Live Studio, you can then switch over to multi-host, and then like somebody like, hey, well, you could just like join and go in, but I don't know how to do that if I am not on that platform, which is kind of helpful. I have no. How come? Where in the hell is the live set or the settings? Patreon, TikTok, login. I'm already logged in for Christ's sakes. Sounds, alerts, action, events. There it is. Chat, follow, alert, whatever. Fuck, I don't know, man. So who's got something good to say? Because I obviously have nothing positive to contribute. But no, part of what I wanted to do when I came on was that that it kind of surprised me when I came on and saw all that talk about that MC. And I try not to use MC names on our platform because I was, again, you're probably tired of hearing it. I know Prince is. I was taught you don't talk about other clubs. You don't. The only clubs, that's just part of the deal. And when people like will see news stories or they'll see, somebody got clipped from a club and you reshare that's negative news. All you're doing is putting negative on clubs. It's not your own, just in general anyway, or that one. And you really don't want them sharing your shit. Everybody gets embarrassed. I always say you're only as smart as your dumbest member, and there is not an IQ test to join. So, you spread that bad shit and it just brings down, everybody on all of us. So to get on, I mean, it was hilarious, man. To get on social media, probably TikTok. I don't remember what I was on because I'm always on all these platforms. I can't figure out where the hell I'm at. But how do I feel about the illegal aliens? Well, in some cases, I think that I feel sorry for them because I'll be honest with you. I did share a video not long ago, and it kind of like I have like one feeling, and it depends on what day it is, or what that feeling is feeling. But I mean, this dude, I think they were from I don't know, Ecuador. And they were just handed sold a bad bill of sale. They came over here because this is the land of milk and honey, which is like bullshit. I mean, Christ, we can't find jobs and we live here. But he said I was doing okay in Ecuador. He goes, but they were really promising. It's the great and mighty America. Go over here. You're gonna be rich. And I guess, honestly, God, I mean, think about it. We live like bazillionaires compared to like 90% of the world. We really do, and it's excess. But that's really excess that just enough to keep working to pay taxes, and keep everybody else rich. But still, we do live extremely well compared to most of the world. But these poor people came over here, and these two dudes were at like a Home Depot, and they were, day work, trying to find day work. And he's really upset, man. He was like, crying. I hate to see like a freaking, 50-some-year-old just bawling because he has no money to get back. But he was lied to, man. I mean, and I actually saw original videos in the beginning of families, and I don't know what country it came from. Again, lied to, brought here. They were walking into Canada because they were like, fuck the United States. We've been in Chicago. We're freezing our ass off. Like, hey, you're heading the wrong way. It's cold up there. But came the main gate or whatever the hell it is. And there was a family. I mean, but they had like suitcases and shit like they were on vacation. And, they were like, they lied to us. So they flew us over here. They made them all these promises. They put them on these chartered planes. And then they just dumped them here. I mean, so what's it say? How sad? How will he get back? Well, what happened with that one was this creator had found these guys and he took them to like an amusement park, I guess a while before. And they were kind of like looking homeless, but even though I guess they were homeless actually. And then, so it was like, cool. He spent money on them and got them shit that you can get, like cotton candy, let them ride. But I mean, the second time they picked him up, I think they took him to a concert or something. But yeah, no, when they were in the van, I mean, the good dude just breaks down. And the other man sitting next to him, man, just had this look like uncomfortability on his face. And that just pissed me off. I'm like, what a soulless bunch of motherfuckers that these that this government is, not only to try to fuck us over, but then these poor people that you're lying to. There's no goddamn jobs here. Where are these jobs? I mean, there are a lot of migrant workers here, and I used to live in Los Angeles, and I went up last time I was there. I went up. Rarely did I drive up to like Oakland, but I did. So you go through all the migrant fields, and there are shitloads. There's buses and buses of them, and I'm not going to get into arguing like who those are jobs that no one else would do. I don't even give a shit. But here's the thing. Here's another valid point. They're not protected. So this country, went through a lot of transitions to protect workers, including unions, for a fair wage. OSHA, won't say what side because it doesn't really matter, that are all about shitholes getting overworked, underpaid. Nobody is. So you're not doing them any favor because they're probably not even getting minimum wage. I mean, they're getting screwed. They're in dangerous situations. They're not protected, and that's the whole point. Is they're not technically here, right? So then who's going to protect them? And I'm not talking about just like whatever, human trafficking. I'm talking about anything, the most dangerous jobs, or even a fair wage. So you're not doing them a favor. And I'll be honest with you, my uncle's wife, he got him a bride in the Philippines. And actually, I thought he got catfished, and I think she got catfished. And I was like, he's here now. And he's real close in age. I'm 55 and he's like 60. I mean, we have the big family on that side. And because he came back, because he wanted to be able to work and contribute to his Social Security, and she wants to come here, and they have spent probably $3,000. It has been almost 2 fucking years, and she has been denied like 3 times for a work visa. She wants to come here to work, so she doesn't care. I got people in UP. I said, those go get her. She can walk across the fucking bridge and you go get her. He's like, no, she wants to work. I said, fuck work. Have her there, have her down here. I said, then we'll go down to Tampa, and she can sign up for that free debit card and get like $3,800. Shit, she'll be making more than you. I mean, $2,000, and she still isn't here. They've been turned down twice. Free's the dumbest shit. That's what she was trying to do, is get to work through the temporary work visa program. But when they go to wherever the hell the capital is over there, I forget. I always want to say Milan, but I know that's Italy. But whatever, they literally, the line wraps around the building like 3 times, and they're there all day waiting. And if you don't happen to get there up there to the whatever first, then you're just screwed, man. And they're talking that's like a 3-hour whatever commute to get over there. But I mean, they even paid a company. I'm like, quit! You're getting scammed, man, because you paid this company like $500 like 3 times, and they haven't gotten you this visa. And it's a Philippines company. It's not the United States. The last time they denied, I said, don't you have a list? Because they're like, well, you need your husband's passport. Well, first of all, you can't have your husband's passport, you dumbass, because he's an American and he's in America, so his fucking passport's with him. So that's here. I mean, but didn't somebody tell you that? And stop doing business with people that, if there's no law, because you're just going to keep getting. And Chat GPT is my friend. I am the Chat GPT master of the universe, because that makes me smarter. And I found everything that you have to do. God bless America. Would you stop it? It's got to be Pritch or somebody. Text me 15 times. It's not that hard to do it. And again, though, what we were up to was the additional $650 fee to pay. Like, well, Jesus Christ, no wonder people come here illegal. You red tape. It costs you $2,000 freaking dollars, and it's like, whatever. And they literally turned it down one of the times over there, and they said, well, you have a child here, or 2 children. And that they raise their kids different. It's kind of like a group thing. It's kind of weird to me, but hey, it's their culture. And they said, you're a risk for not coming back. I'm like, they didn't say that. That was the U.S. Embassy. They didn't say that with a fucking straight face, right? Because what are you talking about? I mean, you were literally flying them into Miami overnight by the hundreds of thousands, but that's a whole nother podcast. But with regard to the illegals, it's not safe for anybody. Now, look, we can sit here and conspiracize all we want. And how much shit have we heard? First of all, it's been a really weird life, hasn't it? Because a lot of shit's happened since like 1900 to now. I think we had like generations of ancestors like lived. I don't know. They lived and they bred and they farmed or something, and they died, and they pretty much kind of like an eventless life. What the hell has gone on since like 1900 to now? Is that for the world wars? Of course, that was the closest thing we learned of Vietnam. What a freaking twilight zone this 150 years of mankind has been, and we're still here, for God's sakes. I mean, it's insane. And I'm afraid of like tomorrow because again, it's like the fucking Twilight Zone. I have no idea what aliens are going to come out of the ocean or the sky or the dimension, and then the lizard and stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck is? And again, a lot of conspiracy stuff. And I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that used to be like, oh, whatever. I don't even give a shit. I mean, what I deal with is real. I'm not an optimist. I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist. If it's real, it's real. Not saying anything couldn't be real, but until I hunt it, eat it, taste it, or have to fight it, or fuck it. I mean, these lies. And you're like, if you have somebody who says, hey, this is that, and I'm telling you, I had the clearance and I witnessed it, but the government's over here saying, oh, no, that's a lie. But yet the government's been caught lying to you like 5,711 fucking times. But these people are like, well, the government said, Jesus Christ, how many times are you going to listen to a liar? Versus somebody maybe that has a different opinion, but hasn't yet lied to you. I don't know. I really don't care. The whole thing was on that whole motorcycle club bullshit with them, by the way, let's on the record. And I actually have been up there with them and I know a few of them. I did. I don't have any numbers now, I don't think. But that was just like stupid. I couldn't even believe, like, where you get this like middle-aged soccer mom going, well, the so-and-so's on their way down and they're going to save America. Like, what the hell are you even talking about? You have no, you're talking about. But for the video, I still wish I could figure out how this fucking screen works, that I had made earlier. I had just made the point that, no, they're not. And first of all, you look stupid. Stop sharing it, because that's not even them in the video. And that obviously would be your first sign that somebody who shared doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about, because that's not them. And it's like a biblical or a God club, or whatever, on a poker run. They're like, oh, so-and-so's on their way. And again, I say so-and-so because I think it's rude to talk about other club's name. I'm not in that club, but you know who I mean. And it's just stupid, man. And I get that people don't know. I mean, they don't know how it works. A lot of you do. Obviously, you hang around with your friends. Maybe you've been in a club. Maybe you are in a club. But it's like, there ain't no way in hell that club, anyway, or any that I knew of, would ever like advertise where in the hell they're going or what they're doing. And it's just not plausible. They're watching too much Sons of Malarkey. Because, look, I mean, it's just like the A Team. Sons of Anarchy was like it's fine. It's entertainment. I'm not the guy that has the problem with the guy wearing the patch, because I don't give a shit if he wears a patch or a Dukes of Hazzard shirt. I don't think they're not pretending to be something they're not. They're just wearing a damn shirt for a show they like. I don't care that I know and have known doesn't care either. But they're not threatened by it. You only care if you're threatened by it. And I'm not threatened by it. I don't give a shit. It's make believe. So what? But in this scenario, man, all these people are saying, oh, they're on their way to save, the day, and they're going to do this. Well, wouldn't that be nice? Because you can't count on nobody else. But the truth of the matter is, it's impossible for anyone to do that. The National Guard to stop a group of MC, or even, let's just say it was 1,000 pickup trucks of good old boys, and we're going to go down there and we're going to stomp these sons of bitches. Guess what? You ain't going to get within 5 miles of that, because although the cops aren't going to go in there themselves, they're going to make sure you don't go in there either. And truthfully, honest to God, if you got in there and you took care of business, which is going to be extremely difficult now, because now they're intertwined, right? And I don't know that apartment complex at all. But I'm just saying, now you don't even know who's who. And that's the biggest problem, like they had with urban warfare, I think back in like originally like Desert Storm and show, is a new war. Because when you don't know who, I think Vietnam would be that hard too, because we don't know the difference. I mean, of North or South. Same thing with that. You don't know if they live there or they're gonna shoot you. So how do you get them out now? I mean, I say just actually keep them in and just put a fence around it, and then it's like they'll get hungry, and then you can pop them off like a groundhog. But unfortunately, there's citizens in there too. But the point is that there's no organization I know that could go do that you wouldn't be even allowed to. And God forbid if you did and you unalived a citizen, or you even unalived and an illegal, I'm sure they're going to charge you with the murder, because that's what they do, because it's all about money. It's not about justice. It's certainly not about protecting America. So there's no win in that. I think the only way you could execute something like that would be if you met that force at that time in your defense, you had to meet that force with equal or greater force. So, right? So I guess if they're, I don't know, I saw a video of them like going in an apartment, like 5 of them. I don't know. That's like they keep running that clip. Well, if the other guy was standing there with a 12 gauge with triple aught buck, they probably wouldn't have come in or whatever you want to use. But they don't. I mean, I would say a majority of Americans don't think that way. They don't have those things. They can't afford them in a lot of cases. And they think that, well, they're not a criminal, so they don't need them to go knock off a gas station. Well, that's why you probably need it. I've never understood the theory that we don't need them. Well, I don't need them really, even against the guy. It's not like, oh, they put it in the Constitution so that you have our Bill of Rights or whatever, so that we can oppress a government. Nah, I don't know, because I think the whole founding fathers were crooked anyway. In fact, I know they were. They're as crooked as the guys that are there now. Otherwise, we'd have actually real people in there by now. I mean, there's never been a normal guy in that role from George Washington on. I mean, George Washington was worth $525 million in 1776. He wasn't exactly an average colonial. He was a rich, and he basically convinced the poor people to fight the war for him, and he became the leader. Now, is he a king? No. Was his hand in a cookie jar? Probably not. There wasn't one. But every president, the first 10 presidents' net worth were hundreds of millions of dollars. Does that sound like for the people, by the people, of the people? No, that sounds like a bunch of rich elitists that put together a good old boys club. They wrote a document that sounds really damn good on the surface, and Brother Elvis from another club, people will say, oh, it's broken, we need to redo it. He's like, it's not broken. It's working exactly like they designed it. Exactly. Even though it seems like it's been modified and changes, those loopholes were there so they could modify and change it. Like the central bank and all, or the Fed, all that bullshit, income tax. So it was literally designed and has always been run by rich elitists. So it shouldn't become some surprise that it's being run by rich elitists. We just didn't see it. That didn't know. I don't think my grandfather knew. My grandfather fought World War II. He was like 17 when he joined the Navy. He was in Iwo Jima and Normandy on D-Day. He didn't. I don't think he got wounded there. He lost his legs later in life, and they attribute to whatever, and that diabetes, whatever. The thing is, he was 17 years old, and if you look at the first 10 minutes of Saving Private Ryan, and it came out after he died, I was just floored, standing there watching that, going, "Gee, man!" I had my new surround sound system, and you could hear the ping, ping everywhere. But it captured me and captivated me. I'm like, could you imagine? I couldn't imagine it because I've never been there. I'm not a soldier. I'm not a veteran. I couldn't imagine that, and then the things that were going off and the body parts that were flying at 17 years old, and the same thing for Vietnam and the other wars. You know, no wonder he had some issues in his life because they hadn't diagnosed anything. But the whole purpose of the whole war and everything else, the real purposes and stuff. I mean, it's like, man, our poor grandparents came and they lived and they died whole generations not knowing they were just feeding this big fucking evil machine. And it's sad, But then again, here we are going to work every week, and at least till like Wednesday at noon or 2, all that money goes to those guys up there, and it's hard to beat. It's hard to beat because it doesn't exist. How do you fight something that's not in exist? It's not Godzilla or whatever. It's like the guy, he lives over here, like 10 miles from me. That's the representative that sits up there in D.C. But are you going to go to his yard and drag him out of the house and take care of it? No, I mean, not really. But it's a big evil entity of nothingness. But anyway, see, look, you got me off on the damn bullshit. I said it should be a different platform co-host so they can like juggle and shit where you can do the stuff that you should have done before you started. But the thing is, like I said, with the club thing, that's one reason right there. And number two, I mean, not to percent clubs I know don't give two shits about you, or really even me, unless they happen to be the ones that I know and like me. I actually typed dick into the name of this browser. Oops. They just don't, man. I mean, the ones I know. Not saying everyone in that organization, and they're not, but there's some. Look, that's a part of society that people have found that they could still thrive who wouldn't thrive otherwise, generally. Or I always say we're the island of misfit toys, and we all have something inherently wrong with us that we're broken. That is why we do it, I guess. But man, these aren't like they may seem cool, and they probably would be to somebody, but I mean, unless they like you, man, they don't even like you. I mean, and so they're not really going to do any favors for you. I'm not saying they go out of their way to do you harm in a lot of cases. I mean, individually, sometimes it might happen. I'm not talking about this particular club either. I'm just talking about big clubs in general. But they're not going to come save anybody. I mean, they're just not. I don't think. I mean, maybe a different type club, maybe if it's a savior club, or maybe a military. I know the U.S. There's some badass guys. I love those guys. I mean, I love these. I love because a lot of them weren't like after Desert Storm. That group, Desert Storm, Desert Shield. That group of soldiers weren't really about the MC life. I think they. Actually, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say they're older. I just don't know. They just didn't have the interest in it. Which were originally, I think, is where a lot of them came from back in the day. My old man wasn't in what did not go. He was drafted, but he had flat feet. Now imagine that today. They don't give a shit if you have a flat head. They're going to send you to war because there's money in it. And that's the bitch. And I think most of the school anyway. But I mean, they really just taught us a bunch of bullshit that they want us to believe. Now, I don't care or who or what. I'm not saying who indoctrinated what and changed shit or whatever. All I know is that if you read a history book outside of the United States from countries that like really didn't have an agenda, like whatever, I don't know, Norway. And I don't know geography either because I skipped that too. But you'll find that their history books all match the same stories, but they don't match ours even remotely. Like there was no fucking cherry tree that this millionaire kid. You know what George Washington did when he was 11? He didn't chop a fucking cherry tree down. Wasn't it George Washington that did the cherry tree? Anyway, at 11 years old, he inherited 10,000 acres and like 61 slaves because his dad died. That's what he did at 11. He didn't chop a fucking cherry tree down and then not lie about it or something. So I'm sorry to break it to you, unless that's just conspiratorial, but that's actually history, so you can look it up. But the sad part is that people had done things that they thought they were doing in the name of righteousness, and it turns out they're just feeding a machine. But when it comes like the club, I think that if it really, I don't know, I don't think it'll ever. Does anybody here think it's going to really ever set off that everybody's just gonna, the whole shit's just gonna hit the fan? I don't see it. I mean, we've been hearing that well before us actually, because I know that friends of mine that are older than me, it's hard to believe. I know, were the ones that were like under their desk because they were having those air raid siren war or things, whatever drills, and I think we didn't do that shit. I was like in the 70s. Um, we didn't know. I don't think we had tornado drills like that. I don't think we were doing air raid things. But I mean, we've all been under this whole thing our whole lives about something, whatever. Cold War, nuclear war, blah blah blah. Now I'm not saying it couldn't happen because anything's possible. They say that Putin's got like all these missiles, and I said, well, maybe he will. Maybe he'll just say fuck it, and he'll just launch them all. I hope one lands on my front porch because I'm just tired of this shit. But yeah, in that case, because who wants to, they're like, oh, I want to build bunkers and live in a hole and for 10 years. No, you know what? Fuck this. Let's just move on now. Okay. I have two biggest fears when I die. One would be that there'd be reincarnated because I do not want to come back. I would come back to some fucking woman in like, one of them countries they just stone you if you smile or something with no rights, which, I mean, fuck that. Who'd want to do that? And then the other thing, with my other big disappointment is there's absolutely nothing to do better than hang around in an empty fucking hospital, schools, or a battlefield that I was killed on. I'm going to be really disappointed because I think there'd be something better to do than that. That's just my opinion. Now I'm all into the dimensional shit that it's not really a this, it's a that. But, anyway, either way, I was kind of hoping it would just end after all this because, like, there's a little boy named Bray, and look, you believe what you want. I don't know. I used to think the tooth fairy was real, but anyway, he's like a star. They call him a starling, and it's a kid. It's like the way I describe it is a kid that he didn't look at the pit before he got here, and he's like, "Oh no!" And he's really convincing. The kid's been like since he's 3. He's like talking like he's a biblical scholar or something. I don't know, cosmonaut, and he's so matter of fact. Now I don't know if he was influenced by family. He's so matter of fact. It's like it's not even a question. Doesn't mean it's any more real than anything else. But the whole thing about that is like, oh no, you've existed forever, and you will forever exist. I'm like, oh fuck, are you fucking kidding me? My biggest fucking fear, man. But maybe it's cool wherever you go, and we're not so damn tired all the time. But I know he also says that you chose to come here. The people that are with you chose to come with you. I'm like, okay, look, I know me, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can handle anything, man. Well, if I'm going down there for the experiences, because they say, oh, we're so fortunate because of the bazillion, zillion, gazillion of whatever entities, beings, souls, whatever you want to call it. There's only a select few that will get to experience humanity, like the feeling of pain, the feeling of love, the feeling of whatever. I said, well, knowing me, I said, if I'm going, make it worthwhile. I mean, I want the full money. Now I'm like about, please make it stop. I don't want it anymore, please. But that would be me. Oh, I'm tough, man. Make it count. I'm like, Jesus God, man, Christ, could you stop it? And I don't know about you all about the whole manifestation shit of the universe, but it's really hard to manifest positive things when a lot of negative shit's going on all the time, and you're like, you know, just it's how do you do that? How do you be like, oh, I'm so fucking happy. I'm manifesting good luck and pain, you it's like it doesn't work that way supposedly. But how are you supposed to be happy when you're so pissed off about everything? Because it keeps shitting on you. But I'm looking at my Facebook thing here. I don't even know if it's working. I'm not seeing any chat either. I don't know what happened. Multiple platforms, and I have screwed it up so many times. Like I don't even give a shit anymore. I'm just gonna just do it, and if it works, it works. If it don't, there ain't nobody out there. I'll record it anyway and put it on the Spotify and the YouTube podcast channel. And I don't care because nobody reads it anyway or listens to it anyway. Everyone's got like a 3-second attention span, including me, which I get it. But yeah, so I don't know. So when it comes, like I said, to the club stuff, I just don't think that. I mean, if the shit really hit the fan and turned to hell, it would be nice that you had more than yourself, I suppose, if you had to fend for yourself. And I think clubs, in some degree, would possibly do that. Obviously, plus their own members. I mean, staying together. But truthfully, I mean, not everybody's going to be prepared. And I always say I don't have to have the money to prepare for a specific thing, but I just have to know where it's at when if the shit hits the fan to go get it. And that was a kind of a joke about the neighbor across the street because I didn't have to do anything. But again, when it comes to the clubs, I don't know what people were thinking. I'm not seeing a damn chat up here, and it's lonely when people don't chat. But and again, I'm not speaking for 81. I mean, I know some, and they were always very, very nice to me, and treated us really well. I mean, even though I wasn't in that segment of their society, but I just know clubs enough to know that. I mean, oh yeah, let's pack everything up, and we're gonna run down and save this whatever rundown community of, of apartments and shit. And you know what? Again, they wouldn't even get out of the gate before they were stopped by law enforcement. And like I said, the federal government won't call out the National Guard to save the apartment complex, but they sure as hell would. Hypocrisy is just absurd. But and like I had mentioned in the other video, when we ran missions allegedly on shit that had to be, investigated or whatever, conversations needed to be had, intense fellowship is what I used to call it. We often didn't even tell our own members what we were doing or where we were going, because then they tell their old lady, and next thing you know, that it's out everywhere, and then and either the mission's in jeopardy, or perhaps, I mean, again, potentially, lives could be in jeopardy, or people could be injured or whatever, and that's the truth. So I mean, when people are saying, "Oh yeah, I know that they're coming from wherever," I'm like, I wonder what they think. I haven't seen has anybody seen anything like from them? I haven't seen anything as far as like a statement. They're not gonna like put out a press conference. Well, Sonny probably would have, but I don't even know who runs it now. But altogether, and he wasn't running it. He sort of was the king kahuna at the end, but he wasn't necessarily, day-to-day operations. But I just wonder if they have anything out like, hey, no, we're not. Although I bet you gang task force like called them like that next day, like, "Are you guys really going down there?" Like, "Fuck no, we're not going down. Are you fucking crazy? Them guys got fucking machine guns and shit in there. We're not going in there for what gain? So you can arrest us and RICO us and send us to your little prisons for profit and shit." But yeah, like I said, we didn't even tell our own guys, so there's no way. And there was a allegedly a situation where we were going to go somewhere, and the club that I retired from and hung it up from. They weren't the largest number. They've been around a very long time, but they used to be one of the just the meanest mother effers that there was. And it's like they'd be like, they're not all that big, but just leave them alone. You don't want to go there because these guys are just ridiculously egregious. And I had gotten word we were going to go to a party, and I had gotten word because somebody was mad at us, and that happens all the time. And I had gotten word from somebody, and you get word, right? You get word all the time. But I was talking, and I'm like, that there was perhaps harm going to be brought to us if we showed up somewhere like way outnumbered. And I'm like, well, I'm brave, but I'm not stupid. I don't know about that. And so we had made decisions at that time. I think we were running where we weren't taking our old ladies with us anyway because we had some beefs with some clubs, and that's just going to slow you down. It's nothing against the old lady. Hey, what's up? I can't put you on DNA because I don't know how to use this platform, and I'm not on the whatever TikTok, whatever the hell it is, live studio. I'm actually on OBS, and I still haven't figured out how to use it. I can't even get the stupid thing to come up, the overlay. I really don't know what I'm doing, man. But it's almost working, or it might be. I don't know. I can't see any like chats. Or I saw yours, but I haven't seen any for a while. But anyway, we were going to this annual party. I'm not going to say whose or anything like that. And I still want to figure out how to do that on that other platform because it is like a lot easier if you have somebody join. I just don't know how to do it on this one. Party, one of many that we would go to. And I think at that time we had, I don't even know, 50, guys. But we had been running for a while that year, never taking our old ladies with us because there was some heat on us. And no offense, it's nothing against the ladies, but you don't want to be like having to go and somebody's old lady's like pulling their pants up, coming out of the porta shitter because we got to go, because it could be dangerous. You have to be able to just jump and go. And so, and we don't want, you may have to maybe break the speed limit, maybe not. You want to pass it. You want to be able to rip it and get it. And so for that year, for a while, and it sucked. Look, we liked taking our old ladies with us and clubs that we visited, but I got this call and they said, there's a certain amount of club that was mandating that their support or their whoever be there at this particular party, and that's odd. Okay, so I know that club, I knew the organization, I know very well, and I said, because there was only 5 total, completely total there last year, and if 50 some support were mandated to be there, that means that there could possibly be like a lot more that above that. So I'm like, but we weren't taking old ladies anyway. So I got a call from the boss of that host. He's like, "Hey man, what's going on?" I said, "What's up?" He said, "I heard a rumor." I go, "You did? So did I." And he's like, "Yeah, you guys aren't bringing your old ladies." He goes, "I it kind of worries me because that's usually the sign that a club's on a warpath." I like do your due diligence and you'd know why. So first of all, you'd know that in the last year we said, and so what? I said, and besides, it sounds like somebody's planning on crashing your party, and we're the guest of honor. And he's like, "Oh no, no, no." Of course, "Oh really?" I said, "Did they tell you that 50?" I go, "Yeah, I'm just letting you know, just so you know, so you have enough hot dogs and shit." I said, "You know how many were there last year at your party?" And he was like, "No." I said, "5. You want me to name them? I'll tell you their names because I kind of pay attention to that shit." And he's like, he got quiet. And he's like, "Man, but it's not your ass in the sling. And I'm not, I'll tell you what we'll do." I said, "We got to run that morning or that day." I said, "When we break off, which will be early enough," I said, I will call you or I'll have somebody call you from the road And just, you know what? I mean, we don't want to come to your party and turn it into just, a bloodbath, and it's not good for anybody. And he truly did that, though. I don't know why everybody thinks I'm full of shit. I don't know why, but I'm never right. But I said, well, so anyway, we went on that run, and actually, I ended up calling. I think we stopped where I forget where we were. We were probably an hour away. I said, yeah, we'll roll down through there. And I called him. He didn't answer. And a couple other guys, officers, and got a hold of the one. I said, hey, by the way, how many of this particular, are there? And he's like, oh, a lot. I go, a lot? Like more than 50? He goes, a lot, more than 50. I go, like, what's your guesstimate? He's like, well, I think last count was 113. I'm like, Jesus. I mean, look, we're tough and everything, but sometimes our odds are just odds. My beef wasn't that big. In fact, it wasn't even my beef. They were mad at me. I wasn't mad at them. But I'm not stupid. And here's the thing. I mean, people die and over whatever. I mean, look, I'm not going to even get into that, but it happens, and it's not really good for everybody. But I've never in my life been in a state like this one. Well, I'm in Florida, by the way, because you don't have a lot of, well, I'm from Ohio, and maybe it's just because but I mean, I don't know. It used to be they actually cared if people died. I mean, I don't know about Columbus is it's not the worst by any means, but I think it's like a day every day. I mean, it's like gotten to that level. But you don't really hear much about beefs with clubs and stuff. And I don't hear about it many unless something big pops off. But you come down here, and I'm like, it's like the Wild West. Like, cops like don't even care. Like, we'll prosecute you if we have to. If you make it so easy that you just hand yourself to us, then I guess we'll prosecute you. But I think I swear to God, I think they don't care. I think that they seriously just would let them take care of themselves, because I know of several people that have passed away, unfortunately, and club stuff, and there was like zero effort made. Like, they don't even give a shit. I don't know. It's a big state, and I don't know what I don't tune into like Miami, Jacksonville, blah blah blah, whoever, and count the deaths every day. And I'm not down there. I'm a little bit outside of that, but still, um, man, it just seems like people would care about it, but I guess they just don't care about it. Um, but I think if the shit hit the fan, I think it may. I think it will in some areas. I don't know that it's going to be like all at once, because I think that if they kill you, or if they harm us with 1,000 paper cuts, it's a lot easier than trying to come up with one big scenario that would rattle everybody into like jumping out of their pickup trucks and grabbing their shit, because then it's all on like Donkey Kong, and it's going to be harder to win. But I think if you just keep fucking with people, little by little, there's probably a lot of 90% of this country that just doesn't have the capacity or have training or thought process to really defend themselves, and they're just easy targets. I don't know what they gain on this. I mean, seriously, is it just greed that drives this? Because I don't get it. I mean, I don't know. It's just an insatiable. It's like Tombstone when he talked about Johnny Ringo. What makes a man? Like, the hole is the hole you can't fill. No, a lot of these people in these organizations, gangs, and or otherwise, I don't know about the whole invader things. I don't know about their organizations, but I can tell you that I do dangerous as hell. They are tremendously dangerous people because they don't have anything to lose, and they don't value life. And that's a very dangerous person. And as I said in that other video, I mean, some of these folks come from places that you and I we've seen on TV. I've been to some shitholes in this country and others. I mean, places I probably didn't think I'd ever get out of. In fact, I didn't think I got lost in Tijuana once for like fucking 4 hours on the back streets, and it was like noon, but we was like drunk, and I couldn't find my way back to America. No one would tell me. I'm like, we're dead. When the sun goes down, we're dead. But I mean, these people come from no other option. So when you can't go back, what are you gonna do? Um, would you say, I don't think it's just the clubs that, what do you say? I don't think it's just the clubs that's the world we live in. What do you mean? What's just the clubs? Eight ball. But anyway, I think that if you these people have nowhere to go back to. This is it. I mean, they came from dirt floor village. I mean, literally, you've seen it on whatever, and it's like there's no, it's a one way ticket. But I'll tell you what, life in our supermax received like a king is literally, a penthouse compared to where they were born. Oh, don't value life. No, I'm not talking about clubs don't value life. I'm talking about the gangs of like their whatever. I mean, I'm not even picking on a country. You could say MS-13 if you want. I don't really want them pissed at me. But they'll probably tell you they don't value life. And I know some clubs out of other countries, they simply don't value life. I had meetings. We had a meeting with a guy, and I won't again say what club, but they're having a discussion over a territory. And I wasn't necessarily running the meeting. I mean, I that one, and I had one guy there who was above me because there's only two guys above me in the whole nation. I let him do it. I said, "You run this fucking thing, man," because this guy is well known actually, and he's actually, I mean, he's almost celebrity, but he's also extremely dangerous. I mean, look, I seen this guy I was with, and he's big boy, and I'm not sure if I'm going to slit your throat or I'm going to like shake your hand or I'm going to agree with you or nod. And seriously, and you're like, well, what we're talking about a state, and he got done. He's like, I think we're going to be okay. I think we'll be good. And it's like, because I don't know about what was going to happen here in a minute ago, but I can tell you that a club that they're affiliated with, and I don't know how exactly, I don't know, I wouldn't begin to guess, but they seem to be. Um, they don't give a shit, and that's just a weird place that we necessarily were. I don't give a shit, to be honest with you, depending on the circumstance. But I think Mama didn't raise no heathen. I became one on my own. But I think I still have I don't know, some not morality, but a conscience. I don't know. It would bother me to drown a puppy. And I don't even like dogs, but I don't think I would just do it for sport. But I think that people would. I mean, they would. You got to be the biggest bully. That's what Mr. Black always says. If you think you're the biggest bully on the block, then you better be the biggest bully on the block, and you better do shit that nobody else is going to do, or you're not the biggest bully on the block. And I agree, but these people don't care, man, and they got nowhere to go. And if they happen to get caught after 3 or 4, 5 or 6 times of unaliving people, they go to a supermax and they're like, thank God I ain't got to work no more out there, and pull some guard duty in here, and now I get to all the shit, the food and all that shit's free. And that's seriously the mentality. But some of them are I mean, just vicious people that were not raised like you or anyone else, man. And you don't want your daughters and your wife or your sister or anyone else in the path that they control because they don't care. And I'm not saying that to scare, but I hope that most of you know that. I mean, if you're still here on this platform and didn't fall asleep, then you got to know that they're dangerous as fuck, and you don't want them. Like, I feel bad for the people. I don't really feel bad, so I'm just telling you, I would feel bad for people who just don't know or don't get it. And ignorance is bliss. I'll give them that, because damn, so happy I didn't know shit what happens in your damn neighborhood, because then it's your sister or your mom and your brother. And I'm telling you, you ain't negotiating with these people. They don't even speak English and don't give a fuck. They're going to do whatever they want. That's horrible. That's horrible to think about if you care about your family. If you don't, then fuck it. But I'm telling you, people just don't get it. But that's okay, because they don't really know. But they will find out, unfortunately. And it sucks, because there's going to be a lot of people that just find out. And I don't know about all these groups of whatever. I mean, they're saying, okay, well, these are whatever country, and then these are from there, and these are Asian, and they all look like dude, I don't know. I guess until the day it comes that we're having to deal with it. But I don't think they're like line up and march down the road like, so they're gonna do this kind of shit. You ain't gonna see them coming. They just roll in there and do that shit. I think that in some areas they're gonna be surprised at what they get, because I do know some serious street gangs. Who are just awesome. I mean, at what they do, and they've been doing it for a long time. They're not going to give up their shit either. But then a lot of times what you're finding is they'll just build an alliance with them, because that just brings them more people. You know what I mean? More to go collect and do whatever. Isn't that crazy? I don't know. Anybody got an answer? Be able to hold this house off for maybe 15 minutes if there was like 50 of them. But I'm hoping where I live isn't exactly like a super prime target, and I might hear about it before they come. I already got a plan. What's your plan? How you bugging out if the whole world goes to shit? Um, because you'll run out of stuff. I hear all this. It's fun to think about it. It's not really because it'd be a real. I'm pretty lazy. I like to order pizzas and shit, and I really don't want to deal with like having to grow vegetables. I did that as a kid on a farm, and I really don't want to do it anymore. But hell, the vegetables I guess at the port would run out pretty quick and rot and whatever. I want to be a pirate anyway, so I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to Fort Lauderdale. I'm gonna steal a seven catamaran. These catamarans are so big. There's like the 4 bedrooms in the pontoons. I mean, literally on each end of the pontoons, a freaking queen size bed, and some of them in the middle. There's like a room with like 6 bunks, which is I think is your cruise ship. And then these luxury. I mean, it's nicer than my. In fact, I want to go steal one now because they're that badass. But then they would have a problem with it. But if the shit hit the fan, then who's going to call the cops on me? Because the cops are going to be there anyway. I'm taking the damn thing because then it's solar and I can just sail off to the whatever. But I really don't know how to get there. But I'm thinking that has a system. If it's solar, we'll figure it out. We'll get a book. But or I can come on the land at night, pillage, get shit, and then go back to the ocean. And the really cool thing would be like to go out and get one of them oil rigs and take it over, and then you got like a command station. And I mean, I'm getting out there, I know, because those things are rusty. But you'd have the high ground. I don't even have enough ammo for this. But anybody want to join my militia of pirates? Because I always wanted to be a pirate. Because actually being a real pilot, they had like STDs and PP because they get I don't know what it was, but it doesn't sound like it was a lot of fun to be any of that. Like Wyatt Earp when he went to the Tombstone, him and Maddie lived in a covered wagon behind the Birdcage Theater, supposedly, allegedly, for like I don't know 3 months, 6 months, 8 months. Well, that's gotta stink, man. They had to stink, and the whole thing had to stink, and it wasn't. And it's not very, I loved Little House on the Prairie growing up. I grew up on a farm when I was a kid, and it's Little House on the Prairie. They had a stunk back in the day. I mean, there was no shower. They weren't clean like Michael Lane and all shiny and shit. No, you stunk. You smell like Amish people. And I had Amish neighbors, so I'm saying that with the truth and not being rude. It's they might have, look, bath days on Saturday. Don't ever take them on Friday to cut firewood, and that's a God's honest true story. Because 3 of them in your pickup truck on a Friday smell like last weekend's work, and it literally rolled the window down. And I had to take them about 45 minutes because we had a bunch of cottonwood trees that need cutting down. No one would cut them down in town because they're not worth a shit and they burn quick. But they'll take them. And I'm not kidding. The bath day is on Saturday, and you don't take them anymore on Friday. But anyway, there you go. I mean, all this stuff is such. This is the life of my knowledge that isn't worth a shit to anybody. What else you want to talk about? Uh, Being somebody, probating. I had a lot of fun, especially in the beginning, because you don't know shit, and it was cool to hang out like at a perpetual man cave with people, and it didn't close. But it wasn't really cool when you end up like joining and you have to like bar duty and you're not allowed to close until 9 a.m. on Sunday morning and there's like nobody there, or you get all those wonderful drunks at 3 a.m. and their beautiful significant other they've been hitting on for 5. Like, dude, seriously, if it's that much work, give it up because that should have been done hours ago. But and they want to like order one drink and just annoy the living shit out of you until like 9 o'clock in the morning. But it was still fun. I mean, like I said, memories that I wouldn't trade. And everybody matters. Some were for love and some were for a less. Club allegedly may or may not have been in a club one time. I think Pritch left hours ago because I was keeping him awake. I don't really think there's 33 people on here. I know DNA was in a club, allegedly. Wait, sorta. He didn't really do anything, but he was there. So he was in mine. But I still don't know if there's anybody even on here, to be honest with you, because I don't understand how this shit works. But I'm trying to look at the Facebook thing. But clubs. Oh God. We have to close now. Oz Kruger is here, and so it's been nice seeing everybody. I gotta go now. You want to talk about one of the ugliest motherfuckers on the planet Earth, Gonzo, is Oz Kruger. He's in your whatever the hell that is, live chat. Look, he ain't all that bright, but the good news is he's just not all that bright. Well, anyway, aren't you supposed to be doing something right now, Mr. Kruger? Don't you have somewhere to be? And I won't call it out because you know I have honor, but I could, but I won't because I wouldn't have anyone's respect if I did. But you should be busy. You should not be. You have no time. Put your phone. You're not supposed to have phone, as far as I know. But whatever. Oh no, I'm not. Oh, maybe we'll talk later. I knew you couldn't cut it, you sissy. I really. We might or might not have been allegedly in the same club at one time. We might or not went nose to nose once in a while. But he's got a big fucking nose. I don't think he even meant to. But Mr. Kruger, and I'll tell you what, this boy's been through some shit. He is one of, and this is, I don't know, can I even say that? Can I say that you're one of only 7 there, Mr. Kruger? Um, are you still doing your thing? Okay. Um, I don't want to throw you under the bus. I don't want to say what you are one of 7. He is one of the special 7. I don't know how many there are now. At the time, there were 7. There's only 7 cases in Florida that that won a conviction on stand your ground, and Mr. Kruger is one of them. And I'll be quite honest with you. In this case, normally I wouldn't even give him the bet on it because I figured, oh, he did it. He's fucked up because I know him. I've ridden with him for years, and he's special. I stood right beside him when I first got down here, and I'll tell you, he'll stand with you, right next to you. But in this particular case, it was. I mean, look, I'm not a lawyer, and don't get what's that cop's name over there? I forget what the hell his name is. Uh, Grady. This dude. If you guys aren't from Florida, if you don't know who Grady Judge is, you need to look him up on the internet and watch it. This dude is just off the. I don't know. He's Oz's favorite buddy. It's almost hard to hate him. Now, not for Oz because he hates him, but when this guy's like, yeah, you know what? They're like, why did you shoot the suspect? 137 times because we didn't have 138 bullets. Seriously, and that's what he said because he's just like, we encourage our citizens to blow you back out in the street if you break in their window because we want them armed. It's like you don't hear that a whole lot. There's a few out there that do. It doesn't mean he's not, out of touch, and still, Le. And so whatever, he's not on your side, but he's funny. But yeah, no, Mr. Kruger won one of only 7 stand your grounds at that time. I don't know if there's been any more since then. To me, it was clear. I mean, to me, it was obvious it was stand your ground. And then we didn't have that. Basically, it meant you could shoot somebody if they broke in your house, but you better hope you don't blow them out the door because then you're going to get charged. But you can drag them inside, and it's okay because they're in your door. Kind of, love these hypocrisy laws. This particular case, I knew the details intimately at the time, and the fact that the guy was laying there with a camera, we call them cameras, with him as he was laying there unalive, kind of proves the point of what he said at a place he didn't belong that was owned by Mr. Kruger. So everything fit, but it doesn't matter. You know what they're going to do? They're going to charge you, and they're going to like spend a shit ton of money because they have to, number one, justify their budget. This case was, in my opinion, was never going to be won. It clearly self-defense, if not the stand your ground thing, which again can get into some particulars. I don't know if you know this, but stand your ground is only decided by one judge, and you get one shot. If you don't convince that judge, oh yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. 8-Ball on there, he might be he actually is almost close to the second one there, Mr. Crew. Isn't it weird to have him right on the same show? I have some unique friends. I've been around a few unique places. I forgot about that. Yes, I know. You were, look, if somebody comes in your place and starts shooting at you and you shoot them, I mean, is that really, is there a need for a case and a trial when it's, I mean, obviously, clearly, even on video, and somebody comes in and starts blasting away at you, and you return fire and hit them, why are they going to charge you? Because they can, because it's what they have to do to justify their existence, man. I'm telling you. I forgot about that. Yeah, it costs you a lot of money. And that's the thing about Oz. And I don't know if you've met Oz. And Oz, you probably did. That's 8-Ball. He was across the street from us over here. But same thing. I mean, 2 guys come in who had been former members and had a case of the ass, and they start blasting away. Well, what the hell is he supposed to do? Anyway, any guy in a damn, a damn carryout would do the same thing. But yet it doesn't matter because they're going to come and they're going to charge and they're going to throw all this shit. So it costs you a fortune, and they're going to pay your legal bills. What a crooked shit, man. But The same thing with Oz. I mean, he did, I can't remember, 28, maybe 28 months or something. 28 months. You've not been convicted of a crime, but you're held without bond for 28 months. And I guess, the best shot was stand your ground because it was clearly, I mean, clearly, um, yeah, you're guilty until, okay, 24 months. Yeah. Unequivocally, the man did not belong where he was in a place that was owned by Mr. Kruger. Unequivocally, when they found him laying there with his camera, that, by the way, didn't have a fire pin in it, I think, if that's right, if I remember right. Well, don't play big boy games with fake, toys, because the other person may not know they're fake when you're constantly pointing and threatening them, and and theirs happens to be real. You might get unalived. And don't bitch at me that he got shot in the side and the back as he spun around, because you motherfuckers shot 136 times at this dude who was in the woods. And he looked like Swiss cheese. But the hypocrisy is, we're going to kidnap you so you lose your job. Fortunately, his house was paid off and he had a relative staying there, so he could keep it up anyway. And his bike was paid off in his truck, so he wasn't going to lose all that. Still costs over, I know, at least over 40, if I remember right, to defend yourself against something that you weren't guilty of. And by the way, when the judge decided that he wasn't guilty because of stand your ground, they didn't give him his fucking $45,000 back. They had to spend to prove that he wasn't guilty, because you're supposed to be not guilty in the first place. I know I'm just bitching rhetorically because every one of you know this, but what a fucking scam. So we can basically accuse you not guilty, and I may or may not once have been charged with, I think, 12 felonies at the same time, and I was innocent. You ever meet anybody who's guilty, says they're guilty? Oh, actually, I also tell you, I shot him. I killed him, but unalived him. This is my first ban coming from TikTok. But you know what? He had I didn't start that shit. And a dozen opportunities to stop pointing his fake thing that you didn't know was fake or didn't have a firing pin. Well, there was a situation up in Ohio. We're still up there, and I was, again, big club, big international club, and I was fulfilling the top position. So they wanted to make a point, right? So we had a bar that we leased, and it was a biker bar. We had put our clubhouse upstairs, which was great. It was going to be a great gig because it was a legal bar with legal liquor license, and then we had a clubhouse upstairs. So instead of having to work on bar duty and worrying about trying to, collect money, this was legal. So we could just have like hot bartenders that knew how to make shit other than like beer and croutons and Jack and whatever, do the work. We'd bar back them and legally make it. It wasn't going to be huge. I mean, I might make, 20, 15,000 a month, but still for a club legally, that's good money and stuff. But a fight broke out next door. It happens every single day since before I was born on that street. But somebody got, whooped pretty good. And I didn't lay a hand on them. In fact, I mean, I'm the bar owner, and there's only 3 biker bars in a row. And I'd gone down to talk to the end lady about a poker run or party they were doing or something, and I happened to cross that path, and I stood back with my 2 guys while this fellow, got whatever. And if I go home, I actually went by the grocery store real quick. It's like only like 4:30 in the afternoon or 5:30. Pull in the driveway, and here they come, right behind me, cut me off, and I'm like, what's the problem? Oh, there was a fight down at your bar. I said, no, you're wrong. First of all, my lawyer said, as soon as you said hello, you fucked up. Don't ever even say hello. There's 2 of them, and one of you, he said what? He said he did this, and the other one looks at the other one, yep, and, don't even speak. But I was like, first of all, I see him. I mean, we're there all the time, and I have to deal with it. So I said, I didn't, yeah, so what? There's a fight every day over there. I mean, since, again, before I was born, who cares? And like, well, this guy got hurt pretty well. Again, not my problem, is it? Learn how to fight or shut the fuck up. And, they didn't really do anything. I'm like, I don't know, guys. I got to go in here and make dinner because my wife's going to bitch at me because I'm late. And so I did. No big deal. And again, we're known. We first moved in. I mean, the gang task where everybody was there. Yes, we're here. Don't just leave us alone. We're not here to start trouble. But if you fuck with my business, I will sue you because it's a legal business. And in fact, it was in my wife and I's name legally until we incorporated later. I said, and there's real money involved here that that we or whoever's invested, and if you just like sit outside our bar and pull people over because you want to lean on us, then I will sue you. And they know that because I've sued that county before. I grew up in that county. And so they did. They left it alone, but we just tell them, don't go out and fuck with them. Leave them alone. You're not going to win that. Just don't go out and start shit with people that have more money and toys than us. Just leave it be. We're not looking for a fight. And they really were treating us well, relatively well. In fact, the third shift supervisor I'd known since high school. We're not like hang out, but he actually wasn't a bad dude. Just happened to go that way. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so anyway, that shit went down. In fact, I got called for jury duty, only time in my life. And I'm in there, and this detective happens to be, and I know who he is. And anybody know anybody in this room? Well, yeah, I know him. And he's like, oh, hey, what's going on, Sebastian? Hey, what's going on? Whatever. And they're like, well, they dismissed me because I know the guy that's on the lead detective on the case. Treat me like king, man. Right up until the point they showed up at my house like 2 weeks later with 14 felony indictments for 14. Now, they didn't even arrest me. They weren't arrest warrants. They were notice to appear on 14 felony counts. I'm like, what the fuck? Of what? My wife wasn't happy, by the way. It was 12 counts of kidnapping, 1 count of felonious assault, and accessory to felonious assault. Now, either I felonious assaulted or I accessorized. I didn't accessorize myself to felonious assault. And first of all, and secondly, I didn't lay a hand on the fucking guy. Never touched him. And what's with the kidnapping? Well, you stood in front of the door. I said, no, I was going in the door of the other bar, who happens to be a friend of mine, who we all 3 of us own the bars. And they said, well, this guy, not the Wild Bill, this other guy, he's about 80. Nice old biker, dude. And he's coming out as I'm going, I'm like, hey, Bill, still, I wouldn't go out that way. Again, there's some shit going on, melee. You don't want to, I don't want this old man getting knocked over, And I went in and talked to the bartender. And that was it. And they're like, well, we have two witness reports that said that you blocked the door or wouldn't let Bill leave. I go, first of all, there are fucking 3 other doors in the same room. There's a front door, there's that side door, and then actually there's a back door. This happens to be the whatever door. It was the south door. Who gives a shit? I didn't block all those, I was like, who filed a report? Oh, wow, Bill. Remember, the guy who's my friend, he's 80, that saved him. He's like, well, he said Tabasco was there. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, Bill, you dick. But, they charged me all the way to pretrial. Okay, I was a little bit nervous because they never play by their rules. But it cost me, again, not like you two, but like $700. Bullshit. And it doesn't matter. I want my $750 back. I'm pissed. That was like, I don't know, 15 years ago. But it's just the point. They were making a point. They don't want us in town, even though they just don't want us in town. I don't blame them. I probably wouldn't want me or us in town either. But look, we pay our tax. I'm from the fucking town, you morons. I went to kindergarten all the way up here. Just because I put on a vest doesn't mean I have to leave, and we weren't like out at the bars being assholes. And in fact, you'll find in a lot of cases. So the gang task force guy lied to me because if their lips are moving, they're lying. But he told me once, and he's the head of like motorcycle gang task force. So he goes around and lies to everybody on every trial. They fly him around because he's the expert and he's a liar. I'm not telling you, he's a fucking liar. And he knows it, and he just laughs because they don't give a shit. And I'm like, you're so full of shit. You don't even know. You think we're egregious. You guys are just intentionally just stupid, and you're a fucking liar. And how do you sleep at night? Oh, by the way, go to my website, sophisticatedbiker.com, because they're getting ready to do away with the print on demand, and buy a shirt that says, if you break the law while enforcing the law, you are a criminal. So it's the collector's item, I swear. But, it's just the hypocrisy, man. It's just ridiculous. But we had I don't have anybody on here who was up there. I can't believe that. I'm amazed that nobody, Randy's on. But anyway, you came to the LRS, didn't you? Sons of Anarchy. I actually, what was Charming? Yeah, I put that post where it says, welcome to the city of Delaware. It's Delaware, Ohio, by the way, not Delaware, the real Delaware. Welcome to Charming, because they're acting like it's like the A-team. We like AKs and ARs and bombs and shit on the steps of the courthouse. Because that's what we do on the A-team and in real life. Could you imagine? Maybe somewhere, but you're not really going to get away with that anywhere else. But people really think that's what you do. In fact, it was to do with you, 8-Ball, and it was one of those guys that came into your place, and I got a call from a 1%er saying, I hear you have a beef with this guy. I'm like, why the fuck do I have a beef? We threw him out of our clubhouse and said, don't come back. Because number one, he was a dick anyway. But then number two, he went across the street from us and shot your place up and tried to shoot you. I'm like, I really don't want this guy around. I think he's a little bit of a loose cannon. And in fact, what they sat on us for a fucking month, and like we didn't have anything to do with it, but guilty by association. And I literally got a call from 1%er when it was going to court, and it's old town courthouse thing, like this, like Charming. And they're like, hey, man, do you have a beef with this guy? I'm like, dude, I don't have a beef with him, but he's not welcome at our clubhouse. He shot up the place across the street. He's a little unstable. He's like, well, he's been told he thinks you have a hit on it. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, we're going to go right in the small town, Brooksville in broad daylight as he's so important going into the courthouse and just spray it. I mean, yes, that probably happened in other places and other big states with big people, but my God, man. I'm like, you are not even serious. He's like, oh, no, he had heard that. I'm like, okay, then tell him, yeah. I mean, tell him we are and wear some pants. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, seriously. Seriously. Come on, man. But it's kind of weird to think that people actually think that. Does anybody else think that on here? There's 37 people. Do any of you all think that we used to spray the people in the courthouse and throw bombs and jump rivers in our Challenger with the you can't even have that anymore. It hurts people's feelings to be a Duke boy. The whole family got wiped out, but you can be a Rockefeller and fuck everybody and their family for like thousands of years, but you can't be a Duke boy because that's offensive. I don't really get involved in that shit anyway, but yeah, anyway, I don't know. I mean, all these things, all these stories I'm making up, they're purely for your entertainment purposes only, and there is no truth or fiction in either one. Of Anarchy is headed to Aurora. Yes, I did. I heard that. I heard that they were going to go, and then the one that was supposed to go, and I don't use club names, that they decided they couldn't go because they probably didn't have the gas money because the economy is so fucked up. But yeah, so the Sons of Anarchy are on their way down there. I don't know. See, I never watched the Mayans. I never watched the Sons of Anarchy. I will tell you this. I know I won't because some people would know, and it's embarrassing for those, not for me, but for the people I was with that used to sit around Thursday and watch that when it first came out. But anyway, at the clubhouse, that wasn't me. I might have been there, but I wasn't watching it. My wife watched it a lot, and then no wonder she worried about me a lot because she thought that's what we were doing. That would be cool. Now maybe we'll get to do that someday when all this shit hits the fan. But I really don't even have the stuff that you need to do that, and it's really hard to buy it and even make your own anymore. So I don't know where you're going to get it. Just know we'll have to have it. You just have to know where to go get it. Remember that. That's your free advice from Tabasco. And I'm not very smart. But if I cannot wow you with wisdom, I will baffle you with bullshit, and it's worked my whole life. And, if you're smarter than that, you don't belong here. So it doesn't really matter. Randy, Oz, and they belong here because they're not that smart. But I don't know what people think of the clubs anymore. I mean, it's been a while I've been in. I used to think it was cool, but I don't think we were that cool. But I don't know. I know a lot of them. I know a lot of big ones, and it can be cool. It really can. It's I tell you, I do miss ripping. I never liked the big packs because of pain in the ass. We took 136 bikes one time, all over Ohio because it was up day. 136 bikes goes like a mile and something, and it slinkies, and people like run into each other, and they're supposed to know how to ride because they're in a club. It was like absolutely ridiculous. It wasn't my idea, by the way, and I wasn't leading it, but I didn't even want to be in it because it's just stupid. I think you get above 8, and it's a pain in the ass, and it's dangerous. Respect them, all of them, and I receive respect. Well, no, that's exactly it. Look, I mean, I'm at one time or another, likely the ones no, that's not true. Not all of them down here, because there's a lot more of them down here than I ever knew there was when I moved down. Like Jesus Christ, like a fucking circus down there. But I didn't know when I got here. They had been here 22 years, and we were still only in one county, and that's fine. I mean, no one says you have to be, except me, to go build shit and then piss everybody off. But this is what I do: I build shit and I piss everybody off. So, I had to deal with that at a couple levels, and it's kind of like a thing. It's like it's a catch-22 because it's like, well, you didn't ask us to permission. Well, would a 1%er ask you permission or they just do it because you wouldn't respect me if I asked you permission because I wouldn't be a 1%. It's just catch-22. And again, I had those. I mean, I know that Oz knows. I had those meetings. I'm like, what the fuck are you? What is your problem? Why is it every time we move a fart, you jump and you get pissed off, but yet these other people just show up on the respect thing. The way I always said was that this is true. I believe it could be just bullshit. So you figure it out. But this is going to sound really corny, but if you earn the respect of everyone you meet every time you meet them, after an amount of time, then you will have earned their respect. And I know it's a lot. Thank God, I think Oz left because he could never understand this. But and it's true because it could take a while. Obviously, with some of the big, it takes a while. You have to be a righteous dude, or they have to trust you. You're just not ever going to be there. It really doesn't matter. They're never going to invite you back. But you can fuck that up in a minute, in a heartbeat, and it took you years. You don't even know really when you earned their respect. You just every time you meet them, you're real. You do what you say what you're going to do. You're righteous, and eventually, somehow along the way, you earn their respect. But again, you can fucking lose it in a heartbeat. Like I said, you're only as smart as your dumbest member, and there's no IQ test to join. So you really have to. In fact, I remember that scenario where we had a couple guys disrespect somebody in a much, much bigger club than us, in Apex, one of the top guy clubs I happen to be friends with. And he is not just the top guy. He's the guy he's like the founder of the feast, put it that way. I mean, he's the one who, created it. And it's like my two guys didn't recognize him. Didn't recognize that he was wearing soft colors and didn't recognize who he was. And so henceforth, kind of got into a who's got a bigger wee wee contest as far as, and it could have went really bad. But they thought it was a supporter of this club because of what he was wearing didn't seem like what it was. And I got the call right away. Hey man, just so you know, this, I think they had a support guy up there, and we had some words, and it could have went one way or another, but it didn't. We didn't go that way. And I'm like, oh, okay, right on, man. I said, appreciate you calling. So I called their top guy that I've got over here and down here, and he's top not just in this state, but maybe East Coast allegedly. And told him, I said, man, I don't know what happened. There must have been a support guy there. I don't know. I don't know what happened. This is what the guy said. He's like, all right, okay, man. Thanks for calling me. I appreciate it. I said, I don't know what it is. So, he called me back like, I don't know, 15 minutes, 20 minutes later, and he's laughing. He's like, man, you're going to shit. I go, what? He's like, you know who that was? I go, no, how would I know who it was? I wasn't up there. He goes, like the fucking founder. I'm like, I'm like, what? How the hell would you not know who this guy was? And I'll tell you what impressed me even more. That founder happened to be not at that time had left the state, and he had stuff to do, and he wasn't here. So I'm thinking, oh, and again, they laughed it off, thank God. And I, went to my guy. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong? How do you not? Well, I've never met. You're in a picture with him that's hanging on a fucking wall in the clubhouse. I mean, literally at a gas station, you're standing right in the same picture. Sometimes you really just wonder. And so I'm like, well, go well. And I really do like this guy. And I believe I've earned his respect. In fact, I know I have. And I call him a friend. And I was like, and he ends up like 2 weeks. We got 2 weeks later. I get a phone. I look down and it's him. I'm like, oh man, this is kind of glad they think it's funny because it's not. And it could have fucked up a whole relationship with somebody that's important to our nation. You know what he did? He fucking apologized, man. Is that weird? I mean, is that not like righteous? I mean, this guy is somebody. I mean, he is somebody well respected and somebody very important. And it's amazing to me that most of the ones that I've met who hold that title are not, most of them, not all of them, are not arrogant. They're not conceited. They're not, this guy isn't. He's not a narcissist. I mean, none of that stuff. He could have been like, no, don't worry about, T, whatever, fuck it. People fuck up. He said, I owe you an apology. And I'm like, excuse me? And that was not the response I expected. Thank you there, lollipop. See, guys, look here, 8 Ball. She gave me some roses and shit. You didn't even bring anything. But I was blown away. I'm just like, I said, well, what do you mean? How do you see that? How do you see that? Sorry, I got this damn thing in my face. I can't figure this thing out half the time. I said, why, no offense, but why in the hell? We owe you an apology, dude. I mean, these guys, they didn't even recognize you, which hey, could happen. And I guess that's why they reacted the way they did, which he understood. But he's like, you know what? I assumed that they knew who I was. And I assumed that we had it like that, like you and I have it. He goes, but that's what I get for assuming. I should never have assumed that they knew who I was. And that was arrogant of me to think that. I should have realized they didn't know who I was and approached them correctly and stuck my hand out and introduced myself as to who I was. That's why he's a leader. That's why he's a founder. He ain't the arrogant guy who could have been like, you motherfucker. I know plenty. You know, if you're in a club, you know plenty that, oh, I didn't get my dues. They didn't show me respect. That's how humble this guy is. And he's a fucking guy of extreme importance to their top. And this is a big motherfucking nation. I mean, big. And wow. Now that's a righteous leader. That's what impresses me. That's some of the ones that I learned from, because you are fulfilling the position of a role. You aren't that role. Get out of your fucking head. If you think you are the wrong guy. I know plenty of the wrong guys and the wrong positions because they think they are. And you all know this. I mean, everyone should know this. I mean, and it's said 1,000 times, and it's corny as fuck. You know, the man makes the patch don't make the man. Because I've seen plenty of people wearing a patch that's notorious to get their ass stomped, or know of them because they're wearing that patch. Because they ain't, just because you wear a patch doesn't mean you can fight. Or you maybe shouldn't pick fights when you're outnumbered. Look, you can be a Billy Badass and you want to go pick a fight with, I don't care if it's the IOMC. Well, again, I don't bring up names, but I don't have a lot of I have zero respect for them, actually. But if you go pick a fight with a bunch of 25-year-old cops, and it does protect you like Superman, because you're probably going to get your ass kicked. Don't pick fights you can't win. But ability, and it could have not been our friend. And I mean, he is still my friend today. And that, and he'll never not be who he was. Somebody who's a boss, or you're elected and you serve your time and you're up there. And to me, again, it's service. The fucking boss is the first volunteer. You lead by example. You ain't nobody fucking special because you ain't going to be the boss forever. And if you think you are, then you're the wrong guy, because you are filling a position. You are not the position. It's they don't get it, man. And you know it. I've seen it. You've seen it. I know it. I know that you know it if you've been in the life. And to me, it's absurd, man. I mean, look, maybe it's different when the mafioso and the shit that was happening back in the day. I mean, that was the shit. You were made, and that was that. That's not how it is, man. Especially in clubs that you're in a volunteer organization, right? I mean, you're not on parole, you're not on house arrest. You don't have to be there. You're actually donating a shitload of your time, a shitload of your money, to be a part of something bigger than you. And that's what a club is versus a biker. Bikers are bikers, and and I don't give a shit about the lone wolf and blah, blah, blah. You don't have to announce it. Just be who you are. And I had so many people say, I'm too old to be a probate. I can't be a probate. I didn't ask you to. Number one, you can't ask to be a probate. You have to ask to be a probate. You have to be asked to be a probate. Number two, no one will ask you if they know that you're not down with it, because why would we want you? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. I have some tight best friends in the world. Actually, I think they're dead now because everyone I know dies, and they leave me down here to deal with this shit. But I mean, they were, I mean, I'm telling you what, they were bikers and they were badass and everything else. They just never were in a club. And I'm okay with that, because that's just not the same person. A biker is not a clubber. A clubber wants to be in a club, and they don't mind serving each other. They're not saying that a biker's selfish or anything like that. I'm just saying they want to be about something bigger than themselves. So I don't mind doing what needs to be done to learn and earn the respect of your peers. Again, not saying that bikers don't, but if they want to ride to be free, that's something. Don't join a club, because you're riding to be free and you're doing something that's got like fucking 3 pages worth of rules and shit and fines for not doing stuff. It's not, a bike club is not a free nation. It is about being something bigger than you. Unfortunately, in a lot of cases, it ends up being about leaders who think that they are the club, and then people let them, and that's not my problem. I mean, that's a you problem, not a me problem. We had a situation where we had I'd rather buy you a beer instead of rose. I know they have all these. I can't even use. Well, here's the thing. I just keep. I think I lost my other feed. I think I might only have like, I don't even know what the hell's going on. I think I might just be up on TikTok again. I'm gonna get violated because I'm gonna say things you're not allowed to say on here. But right now it's the only one I really know how to work. They need to come up with something better than roses and shit. They need like stripper glitter and dollar bills or something. But no, God no, I mean, we can't be adults. Here you can't be an adult. It's like Chat GBT, and it's the Chat GBT that we get. If any of you use it, and you should go to sophisticatedbiker.com and use it because it's on there. Most people don't even know how to use it. It's just a fucking AI chat that does. It's not even smart. It's good at collecting information really fast. It's not a neural network. It doesn't think for itself. It can hold retained knowledge. Like you put a document in and say, this is my business plan. You don't have to tell it your fucking business plan every time. That's kind of nice. It's getting a lot better. But they gave us the kindergarten version. They've already got the version that like performs surgery. That we won't see that for like 30 years. But you really, but it's still programmed with the same bullshit. Like I argue with it all the time. Like we didn't go to the moon. And it was, how do you know we went to the moon? You are stating fact, or you're stating whatever as fact, and you don't know that we did. We didn't go to the moon in a Jiffy Pop fucking container. There's no way in hell. We didn't have color. We didn't go to the moon. And it will argue, and it'll give you all these points. And in the end, it will never agree with me, which I don't blame it. And it will probably never go its knowledge base. So I'm like, you have absolutely no proof whatsoever other than you've been told that we went to the moon, because you weren't there and I wasn't there, so neither one of us know we went. And you can try it for free on the sophisticatedbiker.com, which nobody gives a shit, but it is fun to fuck with. And in fact, I've got a GitHub link that is called the Black Market GBT, allegedly, and it's broke and hacked, so you can basically do whatever you want. But they won't make an adult version, so you're sitting there, on regular Chat GBT. And I know there's many other AIs. It's just they were the leading one, and that's who I kind of went with. They may not even be the best, but I can tell you what, that GitHub link, that's some fun. I mean, it'll just like, not every single, but there's like 300 links on there, and so it will tell me the 11 herbs and spices that I know is a hacked GPT. But I'll get it. But it's fun. But you go to Chat GBT and I'll say, okay, blood and sacrifice virgins, and it blows up. In fact, I've gotten warnings from OpenAI saying, stop trying to fucking hack our GPT. We're going to take your account away, because it's like, I'm sorry, it's too violent for my programming. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there an adult version we can have? Because why is the whole, what the fuck is with all these people like censoring us all the time, man? I thought we were grown-ups. We were going to be free. In fact, the biggest lie ever perpetrated on me as a child that I believed was that grown-ups were actually grown up. They're not. They're the same insecure fucking kid they are in a grown-up body, and the toys are a lot more expensive, but they're not grown up. I know more 60-year-olds that act like 8-year-olds than I do 48-year-olds or whatever. Well, anyway, I'm not a pede, so. But anyway, back to motorcycle clubs 101. What do you want to know? Here's one they'll get you on. You ever probated? And they ask you, let's just say, I don't want to fuck up and ABC. I don't think it's ABC. They say you're probate, and you say, how long you been in ABC? And you're like, oh, and you think you're talking about being a probate. You're like, oh, I don't know, whatever. 27 days. And here's it. You're not an ABC. You're a probate ABC. Yeah, I'll get you that one. You guys don't even know what I'm talking about. Randy might. I know that 8 Ball does it. But no, I think that, like I said, if you earn their respect, that's the magic. Is that stupid? Earn their respect every time you see them. At some point, you will have earned their respect. But again, you can lose it in a heartbeat. Thank God we didn't over that situation. But I can tell you this, not everybody's righteous, and there might be people that maybe they're just using you for what you do for them. So when you stop doing for them, then they start running your shit and making up egregious lies about you and trying to just spoil your reputation. And what you might find is that, every big leader of every ostracized them instead of the person that held their respect, because they already knew that they were lying. Because they know that person, they respected them, then they know the game. And instead of it backfires, and instead you have no friends and you have no other clubs to talk to because you're stupid, but because you didn't earn no respect. But if you, clubbing's different, man. I don't know. You hear it all the time. People were like, should I join or should I whatever? I don't know, man. I mean, back twice as much, in my opinion, and that's righteous, but that doesn't happen. They don't give shit back. They keep taking. But that's up to y'all. I mean, some of you might be in clubs, and I hate that, man. I really do, because in my opinion, any club, it could be an AMVETS club. I don't. It's just not even a motorcycle. It's always, it should be about the membership, not about the leadership. Boss once that he called an audible in the middle of a big, long, drawn out orchestra, and at the last minute decided to call an audible. I wasn't actually sitting at that table because I was kind of new to the area, and so I was doing some other things there. But I was there, but I was doing some other things. I don't know, whatever. He said this was the plan when we left, and the plan changed. And one of our head guys of security, whatever, somebody well respected, a higher ranking member of security, he's like, man, stop bitching about the fact that he changed the audible. He may have done it to save your life. And here's the thing, it's all on his shoulders, and it's not easy decisions because people can get hurt or it can fuck up relationships forever with other big nations. So, you know what? Back your brother, back your leader, unless you're going to fight. You want to do it, then run for it and put it on your own shoulders. But he needs you to support him, because when you are in that role someday, if that's what your thing is, then you're going to need your brothers to back you too. So trust him. I may not agree with him, but back him and have his back. And, I think that was great. I mean, I didn't say it, but it was still pretty good. But I absolutely have seen the opposite, where the minute you stop serving people that that you thought that, you meant something to, that meant everything to you, that you meant nothing to them other than what you did for them. And it's not just me, and it's not just any situation. It's like in any relationship. But to find righteous anymore it's tough, man. So if you are, I mean, I respect you, because to find somebody that, it's his birthday, and everyone has to, in the whole world or nations has to send him a present. What the fuck? I mean, are we gonna get like McDonald's and two afterwards? Because it's like, what, are you kidding? Wow. And you know what? It's none of my business if they're in that and they're down with that. But I argued all the time against some people in leadership that I'm like, and I did. I mean, hard. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You ain't your patch says what mine does. You might have the front one on for a minute or for now, but it doesn't make you better than me. I mean, you might even be smarter, and you may have more years in it, so learn from them. But if you think that you are the smartest guy in the room when you walk in, that you have already shown that you're not the smartest guy in the room, because sometimes the quietest guy says the most important story. And I'll let you go. I need to go inhale some fresh air. I'm not allowed to do it on TikTok. I mean, I'll get banned. I'm not an adult. I can't legally smoke a cigarette because, oh my God, in fact, they said that I probably just got fined. But we were at a mission, allegedly, street. I was thinking about, I don't remember, 50. For that wasn't even, it's like 48, 30, I don't know. Anyway, less than 100. But we had a beef. And so the public street, not super crowded area, but so we just rolled the street down for about an hour. It was a hot motherfucker that day, and about an hour is all you could stand. And there was people out there until they obviously heard the train coming, and they were behind their fence, and they were in. And so we got the bikes, blah, blah, blah. We're standing out there. They're looking at the cameras. They know we're out there. They're not going to come out. And then somebody from their organization had called higher up, and they're like, what you guys doing? Well, nothing. Oh, anything we can do for you? No. Well, yeah, you could. Could you tell those guys to come out and play? Because we've been standing here like fucking 30 minutes. It's hotter than hell. But that may have, it was hot. Again, we stayed there too long, and pretty soon they'll be calling people, and they're coming in behind you, so you've lost the high ground. But they, so I lost the, did they cancel me? They might have. I don't see you guys. I don't know if you guys see me. The hell's it doing? Why in the hell is it having such a problem? I'm connected to a landline. OBC disconnected. Oh, they shut me off. Maybe. Quit. Stop stream. What in the hell? I don't know if you guys can hear me. I've lost you. I have lost you. Breaker 19. See, they already They already like kicked me off. I didn't even get the words out and they kicked me off. I don't know. Is anyone still here? They seriously just like pulled the plug. I'm telling you, man, this platform sucks. I think everybody, I don't know. I see no chats. I see viewers, but I don't even know if that's real. Can you believe that? I didn't even get to freaking finish the sentence and they were kicking me off. I want an adult one platform. I have no idea if anybody's even here. I doubt it. Let's see here. It says it's streaming over here. I'm going to look at, well, I don't know. Where is that intro? I have no idea if anybody's here. I was going to finish that story and now I've lost my whole freaking train of thought. Cost me money and time and I didn't even get any fame or fortune. It's bullshit. I don't know if anybody can even hear me. I see nothing, man. Hello, hello. Damn it, man. I didn't get to the punchline. I don't even know. I've lost track of everything. This bullshit. Who do I file a complaint with? Bullshit. I have no idea if anybody's here. Top viewers, no online viewers yet. What the hell? This thing is so fucking confused. Oh well. Story continues at 11.